Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a public service announcement for you and just a clarification of my position on some things. This is prompted by Sal Glesser, the founder of Spyderco, recently put up a post on both the Spyderco forums and the Blade forums. Basically saying that every month they get back hundreds of knives that were returned to dealers after having been disassembled by the end user. They were played with, taken apart, reassembled, and then returned as brand new in box for a refund. And he said there are kind of two options. Either dealers put them back on the shelf, which means the next person who buys them is going to get something that was taken apart, in some case poorly, by a jackass who didn't know what they were doing, or they have to send it back to Spyderco as to re-quality control them or use them as factory seconds, whatever, and that adds to the cost of the consumer. And he basically says, well, please, don't do this. And you know what, Sal? I am with you 100%. People should never freaking be doing this. I am absolutely an advocate of being able to take apart and maintain knives. A knife that you can't maintain is not yours. It's just borrowed from fate. And, of course, many knives do benefit from some tuning by a skilled user. But I'd like to make one thing abundantly clear, which a lot of people just don't seem to understand, which is that if you take a knife apart, it is yours forever. Do not buy a knife, disassemble it, and then return it. That is awful. That is ugly. And if you do it, oh boy, is there a special place for you. That's unfortunate. And look, even further, I have zero problem with dealers if you try and return something and they say, oh, this has been taken apart, just refusing the return, sending it back to you and charging the shipping, or hitting you with a huge restocking fee. I have no problem with that. I will stand up for any dealer who wants to have that kind of a policy. And frankly, this is the reason why we have restocking fees in the knife world. People doing nasty things like that. But if you try and disassemble a knife and then try and return it, that's just awful of you, and it's crappy, and it's why we can't have nice things. And it is, in fact, directly a reason we can't have nice things, because it's important that we're doing the right thing, because these discussions that are brought up by this, just in the wake of this announcement, are just terrifying. Because, look, there are people, not people from Spyderco, mind you, but just people who are advocating for things like pin construction, ultra-soft screws that are destroyed by attempts at disassembly, proprietary screws, red Loctite, tamper-evident seals. These kinds of things that people do, that companies do when the end user is viewed as an enemy rather than as your customer, your client. They are advocating actively that Spyderco maybe should do this in response to this issue. And the thing is that, that's ugly. It's terrible. I would hate that world. I mean, we have enough dystopia, thank you. But the thing is, I can't blame the folks suggesting this. These are, in most cases, folks who really deeply love the brand and want the brand to survive no matter the cost. And so it's understandable that when they feel scared and threatened by behaviors that they can't control, they're advocating extreme methods to control it. I mean, people will trot out the howitzer to swat a mosquito if they're good and scared by it. But the thing is, as we understand, if companies go this route, the route of planned obsolescence and temporary tools, it would be a terrible world. And although I don't think it's a huge danger, given that other knife companies have stayed in business while still being, treating consumers well, etc., this is something that we can very easily as a community stop, and the very best way to stop it, to make sure we don't end up in these consumer-hostile dystopias, is just by being better. I mean, to start with, don't buy anything you don't plan to keep. I mean, this should be pretty straightforward. I mean, return policies are great if there's actually an issue there, but don't be a serial returner. That just sucks. But also know, and most importantly, know that if you touch anything with a freaking Torx bit, it is yours. I don't care if you were trying to smooth it out, tune it, fix it. If you open it up, it is yours forever. You're not allowed to return it as new in box. That is a terrible thing to do. And you should probably mention it before you sell it to somebody else anyways. And if you do think that there is a problem, let's say you get out of the box, you think to yourself, wow, this has got side-to-side blade play, vertical blade play, the centering's all bad. Oh, man, that's awful. And I'm not saying this does, by the way. But in that case, just send it straight home. Don't try and adjust it. Don't touch it. Just put it back in the box and send it home. Because, look, if companies are shipping products that aren't well-tooled, then getting these returns, well, increases the pressure on them. And that way the seller knows 100% that the problem was there from the factory, not caused by you mucking about with the knife. If you're like me, on the other hand, you're handy with a Torx bit and you think you might be able to fix things, well, if you've got the skill, then, maybe you can make some changes. But at that point, the moment you try, the knife is permanently yours. And so any repair needs to go directly to the manufacturer through their warranty division. And this is why I advocate that companies are not having trouble with, warranties that are voided with disassembly. That's a separate kind of ugly. But look, no matter the brand, no matter the issue, no matter the fact that, Spyderco brought it up this time, this is something that everybody just needs to agree on. You should not be returning knives that you've disassembled. It is yours the moment you bust out that Torx bit. And people taking advantage of these kinds of things, of these systems, of these warranties, are actively why we can't have nice things. And these are the reason that people trot out these kinds of dystopian, consumer hostile ideas in the knife world, just to try and prevent that. So the way that we can fight this as a community is to be better, to be good consumers, well, frankly, to be just good people, and to do this properly. So if you take it apart, you bought it. Case freaking closed. Hope this has been interesting, that you took apart this video and thus you buy it. The contents. And anyways, have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to go take apart some knives. Bye now.